For the past 6 years, I've been a coach for the Montana Artrepreneur program of the Montana Arts Council. And I'm so pleased to introduce a wonderful artist and my good friend, Julie Chapman. She and I have been friends and neighbors for more than 10 years, I think. We share an interest in art, knitting, and dogs. Julie is a successful Western artist, and I'm so pleased that she will talk to us about her approach to social media and marketing her beautiful artwork. Can you tell us a little about your artwork and yourself as an artist?
Sure, and thanks, Ricky, for the nice compliments. I appreciate them. So I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil, but I always thought that you couldn't make a living as an artist. You know, everybody knows that truism, right? So I went to engineering school because I love science. And while I went to work for HP after college, I built up my art career slowly on the side. And in 2002, I won the Arts for the Parks Grand Prize, the $50,000 Grand Prize, which was the impetus for us to move from California to Montana and for me to become a full-time artist, which is what I've been doing ever since.
Can you give us an idea of where you are in the arc of your art career?
So I think at this point, I would no longer consider myself an emerging artist. I'm more of an established artist. I'm not yet in the top tier of wildlife and Western artists, but I'm knocking on the door. And I'm more limited right now by time and the amount I can produce than by channel.
Now let's go into the nitty-gritty, and if you could tell us about how you market your art and all the various ways that you sell your art and find new customers.
So, okay, channels for my artwork include, and I'm so glad I spent some time thinking about this in advance, museum shows, other juried and invitational shows, galleries, Facebook, Instagram, my email newsletter, and my website. So those are all what I would call channels for reaching people with my artwork and for selling it. All those channels I went through, new followers, patrons, collectors, find me through any one of those channels, which is great. Now I have very clear policies though about if people contact me and they're interested in a work of art, buying something I have available, for instance, if you found me through a gallery, please tell me which gallery, because I'm going to send a commission to that gallery.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Do not ever undercut galleries.
So let's go to social media and talk us through that, please.
Okay, so the website is, that used to be more of a channel for me, but it's not so much now because it's table stakes. You need to have it. It's a static and non-interactive portfolio, but social media has superseded websites in terms of the primary marketing, direct marketing for a lot of artists, and that's true for me too.
So the website's like an anchor.
You got to have it. You got to be able to refer. They'll say, "Where can I see your work?" And if they're not near any of my galleries, you can go. You can see it on your phone right now on my website.
Right.
So that's a good way to do it. So I see you've got. Oh, I love this horse painting. What else you got in the way of horse paintings? Well, let me pull it up here on my website and show you. So.
Let's go back to social media.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
Okay. Yeah. No. So there's a lot of social media channels out there. The two that I focus on are Facebook and Instagram. For me, Facebook is lower volume, higher engagement. Instagram is higher volume, lower engagement.
Volume of?
Just the volume, the feed. It's images just flying past when you're scrolling.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, and they hit a like and they keep going.
Yeah.
Facebook is, it's much more of an interactive, channel, which I like. On Facebook, you might be on your phone, you might be on your laptop, it's easy to type in, hey, I really like that. On Instagram, people go, I like that, and then they type some emojis in with their phone, because that's about the quickest thing they can do, and then they keep going.
You have a personal page and a business page.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? How do you use those two?
When I started doing Facebook, the difference between personal and business, I didn't understand, and Facebook, I don't think made it very clear what the difference was, and that you should have a business page and you should start there if you're going to have a business. So I started on personal, and that's fine. I built up all these, friends or followers, whatever you want to call them, through the personal page. It probably would have been better to start with a business page in my case. So I am super careful not to talk about, hey, this is for sale for X amount of money on my personal page, because that's the kind of thing that Facebook could shut you down for.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what I've heard. I've heard of people saying, Facebook just shut me down overnight and I couldn't tell anybody, and there wasn't anybody to reach at Facebook. So I'm kind of careful about that, and I think if as an artist, if you're starting to build a business following, it's probably better to start with a business page.
Do you notice that the posts on your business page don't go to as many people as the ones on
Yeah,
your personal page?
Absolutely.
And do you do you post the same thing to both? Maybe
Yes,
with less
I do.
about the sellings part.
They're pretty much the exact same post.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How much do you invest in advertising on social media?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
And why's that?
So Facebook does provide a lot of tools for you to target a message at a very narrow audience, to be very specific. I want women over 50 who live in households with X amount of net worth and located in these areas and that sort of thing. You can do all that with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been convinced that that's the way to sell expensive fine art.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to my galleries. Some of them have tried this and have said, yeah, not sure we see the returns from it.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't explored it, and I haven't felt the need to, again, because I'm limited by the amount I can produce.
Do you post the same thing on Instagram as Facebook and
Somewhat, but
Uh-huh.
not entirely.
Mhm.
Not entirely. Instagram needs to be really, it's totally visual. I mean, Facebook, of course, is visual too, but then I'm going to have some words about this thing, and I struggled with the title and whatever, and people are going to weigh in on that. Instagram is just, it's a little more polished up, wrapped up, ready to go.
so it's more an image with a caption, whereas the
Yes.
Facebook is maybe
Caption,
an
hashtags. And,
image with a story.
yes.
Okay.
And but I am adding more story on Instagram because I have noticed when I love Instagram for myself. I get a lot of ideas looking at other artists' work on there. I have noticed that there are artists who post something and I'll think, well, how big is that? What's the medium and what was your inspiration? And they'll have nothing on there and I'm like, I'm left sort of flat and I just go past it.
Yeah.
Now others will put more story and I want to read that. I want to read what they were thinking about and what inspired them and why they did this.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are artists who go on for way too long on Instagram. You know, it's like, okay, you have the image and then they've got like three phone screens worth of info below it. It's like, no, that's too much.
Right. Right. So can you tell us the story of a recent sale that you posted something? How did you get them interested in that piece? What led to the sale? Then what? So somebody says, oh, I want to buy that. Then what?
So actually, I think this guy is a perfect example because I posted him on Facebook a couple days ago, and this was one of those I thought people are going to go, what are you thinking? You know, I wasn't sure if this would be like, what are you thinking or what? Put it out there, millions of comments right away and likes, and within an hour, several people had said, is this available?
Uh-huh.
So, and then I messaged him privately and we work it out that way.
So how do you work out the details? Do you charge
So what
them
I
for
tell
shipping?
them
Yeah.
is, this piece, framed, delivered at a gallery will be and I give them the gallery price.
Right. Because this was promised to a gallery.
Well, I hadn't promised it to a
Okay,
gallery yet,
good.
otherwise I would need to give the gallery a commission.
Right.
So I hadn't promised it to a gallery yet, but I said, this is the price it would be at a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to give you a little discount right now if you're fine with taking it unframed.
Okay.
And as soon as it's dry, I'll just retouch varnish and send it off to you. And then it's usually like, okay, the details are, do you do check or PayPal, etc. So.
Would you be willing to talk to us about the prices of the kinds of things you sell that you sell through social media?
Yes, I've been surprised, and I think galleries have been surprised that the prices people are willing to pay for something they've seen only on Facebook, only on this much resolution, anywhere from say $1,500 up to $11,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is impressive.
It's surprising to me.
Yeah. So are these people are the customers people who've already seen your art and are familiar with you? Or are some of these people that all they see is what's on their screen?
Some of them are people who have bought my work in the past and are familiar with it. Some some recent sales have been on somebody contacted me on Facebook. I'm really interested in the painting, and I think I don't know who this person is, so I never know if they're for real.
Right.
But here's the price and all that, and then okay, great. How do you want the payment? So it's been a mix.
Yeah.
I've had people. A recent painting and this was another like, I don't know, $13,000 or $11,000, something like that sale. And it turned out to be somebody from high school.
Oh.
And I didn't know, because she had changed her name when she got married, and I didn't remember her. She was in my sister's class, but it was like, wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She found me on Facebook.
And are you equally trusting with somebody whose name you've never heard of before in terms of the?
As long as we've agreed on the terms, I get the check. Yeah. Because I've had plenty of sales to people who are unfamiliar to me.
Yeah.
From Facebook.
Interesting.
I've never had a direct sale from Instagram yet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just Facebook.
Do you post every day?
No, I don't.
And everything I've read in the marketing information is that you should post at least every day. And I'm so happy to hear that you don't post every day and that you have all these sales on it. So could you tell us, how do you think about when you post? How do you motivate yourself to post again? So there you go.
So, okay, yeah, I mean, I've heard some of the same things. You should post more frequently, blah, blah, blah. When it comes to Facebook, if I can post once a week, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for posting a little more frequently than that, because Facebook's algorithms are that they only serve up some of your material to some of your followers. So if you post more often, you're going to get in front of your followers more often. But I don't feel like I have enough content, fresh content, to put out there more often than that. So, and I've also found for me that I get the most engagement if I post Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the afternoons. So I'm going to kind of keep my post to that time frame, which means that I'm only going to have at the most 2 probably in a week.
Do you schedule when you post? No. You don't use the schedule?
I'll just go, oh look, I've got this painting done. I'll share it with everybody. What the heck?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a little more off the cuff than that, and for me that works. I'd rather have it be that way. Like, oh, I feel like I want to share this with folks on Facebook and hear what they have to say.
Now you don't just post your artwork. Sometimes you post somewhat more personal stuff, like a dog, like when you had a puppy.
Right.
How do you think about that?
I don't post a ton of personal stuff. I'm still trying to decide what the right balance is on that.
So your goal is to try and post a piece of art once a week.
That's a goal. Yeah.
That's a goal, right?
Yeah.
And then you might add a few things, maybe once a month something else goes in there.
That's probably about right.
All right. Let me just slip on my map hat, coach hat, saying
yes.
The metric is that you're doing sales, so you're having success with the way you're doing it now. So, maybe you don't need to struggle with that anymore.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean that's a good point. If I were more of an emerging artist and trying to build a following, I'd probably be more diligent about I need to put some things out on Facebook pretty regularly and build up the followers. I come back to the fact that I'm time limited right now, so I'm okay with maybe I don't reach quite as many people with a given post as I would if I were doing more posts.
Right. You have a very distinct voice on social media that's totally authentic, that's totally you. And I know you pretty well off social media, and what you post on social media is you. It's great. And you talk about engagement, and the fact that your posts are engaged with so much probably means that they are also popping up into people's feeds.
Hope so.
I mean, I see the same post frequently, especially when my friends comment on your post or you respond to my friends. Right. So,
exactly.
So anyhow, I wanted you to talk about how you think about that authentic voice. How do you keep that authentic voice going?
So, I'm not sure I have a really good answer to that, other than to say that I think showing up with humor and gratitude and professionalism in all my interactions is essential, and that's whether I'm talking to my galleries or whether I'm posting on social media. So for me, there's always like, okay, what humor can I add to this, or how can I engage folks? I'm gonna do an aside here and say that someone like an artist like Catherine Turner, who is a dear friend and is a phenomenal artist. She lives in Jackson Hole. She is just such a great example of an artist who posts everything she writes is grace and love. And her paintings look like that too. And she has just tons of engagement, millions of likes every time she posts for that reason, because, and that is her. She is authentically just a really lovely soul, and that comes through in her posts. I think I'm not afraid to be kind of vulnerable, because I'll put things out on Facebook and say, well, I'm not sure this is done. I'm not sure if this is a good idea even. What do you guys think? Because I truly am genuinely, frequently in the, I just don't know about this piece. And, and the kind of feedback I get tells me whether or not I'm on the right track with it.
Interesting.
Also, I treat all my direct marketing, that includes my email newsletter and my social media, as interactive. So every comment someone makes on a post of mine, whether on Facebook or Instagram, everybody who replies to my art scene, they all get acknowledged. I can think of artists I know whose work I love, and they post on Instagram pretty frequently, and I've commented once or twice, this particular artist I'm thinking of, and she never acknowledges. You don't even see like a like hit, next to your comment or anything. So I stopped commenting.
Right.
There are people who take the time to post something thoughtful.
Right.
Those especially I will respond to, because usually for me it's an insight. Oh, wow, thanks.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
I genuinely like engaging with my audience by asking things like, what do you guys think I should title this? People like weighing in on that. They like being asked their opinion.
Yeah.
And another thing I've done is the auctions. I was doing a weekly auction of a little drawing. And that generated a lot of followers and a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And some income for me, and it was, people were so excited to get those things. They were so excited to win them. It was gratifying for me.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, my income went off a cliff right as the pandemic struck. And we heard all about the food bank problems and so forth. So I revived the weekly auctions, this time with the proceeds going to the Missoula Food Bank. And those got a lot of engagement, and they made me feel much better about everything. So you have to be authentic to yourself when you're posting it. I think there's been an evolution in terms of people accepting that you could buy big ticket items sight unseen, other than a small digital image. That's just an evolution of the audience and the times.
Right. That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about your newsletter and where that fits into your whole marketing scheme and the know, like, trust?
Yeah, the art zine or the email newsletter is definitely my longest running direct channel. It's at least 15 years, maybe more. I've lost track now when I started it. It's even longer than that. So definitely the pool of people who receive my art zine we're on the trust spectrum with most of them. The nice thing about the art scene is that it lets me dive in a little deeper, because I will do surveys now and then, and those are useful for me. And then I will share the results back to the audience, and people engage with that, because I run it through Constant Contact, and Constant Contact shows me how many people clicked or opened or clicked a link or whatever, and I can see that those things create engagement.
Do you find that you get sales from your newsletters?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That used to be the primary way I would have direct sales until Facebook came along. I would say now it's more Facebook, but I still do have sales through the art scene.
Okay. So what marketing advice would you give to artists who are learning to market their art? What do you wish you had known when you were starting out?
So show only your best work to the world. You need to learn how to self-critique. Now that said, I will break this rule occasionally when I want to illustrate something or I want to try out an idea, and I'll put something out there that might feel half-baked and see what kind of response I get. And I'll say, this feels half-baked, or something along those lines, and see what response I get.
You've done some works in progress posts as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about those?
Usually it's when I feel pretty confident that it's going to end up being okay, or I'm excited about how it looks at that stage. So, I haven't done works in progress when I think, boy, I don't know if I can rescue this or not. Those are not the ones that get put out there.
Yeah.
So, you need to choose a couple of social media platforms and show up consistently. There's a lot of social media platforms out there. You need to pick the one or ones that resonate with you and be consistent.
Okay.
It's, don't do that. Well, I went on Facebook and I posted a couple times and never sold anything.
Yeah.
The engagement thing we've talked about, which is, I think it's polite and it's also important to engage with anyone who engages with you.
Okay.
If you're going to be on social media, you need to also check out other artists' posts on whatever platforms you're on, and to compliment whenever you can.
Yes.
You know, be visible. In other words, oh, so-and-so's, Julie's checking me out, well, I gotta go check her work out too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, by the way, critique, and I've seen some artists break this rule, critique is private and only when requested. I do not, I mean, I've been on Facebook and Instagram and thought, whoa.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say anything, that's not my place.
Right.
The artist did not put it out there for some random person to show up and critique it.
Yeah.
There's one artist I can think of, and I blocked him from my Facebook feed, who thought that it was his right to go around and critique every artist's work. I don't know why he thought this, but it was like, I didn't ask for you to do this. That's not your place.
Right.
And he critiqued things out of total ignorance.
Oh.
Yeah. And we talked about this already, but I think start with a business page on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
If I had known, I mean, it wasn't clear, and I'm not sure if they were even a thing when I started on Facebook, but now you should.
You should start with a business page. Yeah. Okay. But you have to have a personal page to start a business page. But yes, if you're going to do
Yes.
if you're going to sell your
If
own,
you want to sell and you want to be, you want to be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but print advertising, I think, is a waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you have a lot of it and you're willing to buy half or full page ads for 6 months at a time.
Right. Well, again, you can't engage with a print ad.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's part of what I love about social media.
Right. Print advertising has got to be pretty much all no, and no, like, or trust, because...
Yeah. It's basically an awareness thing.
So you've got an audience, you're sending your newsletter to them, you're posting them on Facebook. Back then you would post a gorgeous scratch board and maybe a series, and then you'd say, well, this is something I'm playing with.
Yes.
And what do you think? But you're obviously bringing in new buyers. Where do they find you? How are they finding you?
So I think it goes back to those channels. They're Facebook and my galleries, both.
Mm-hmm.
When I started doing the new mixed media stuff, I sent it up to my Whitefish gallery. He started selling it immediately, and I'm going to assume it was probably to different people that had bought my work in the past.
Right.
Same thing with my Sedona gallery. When he saw the new stuff, he said, send us all of this you can.
Mm-hmm.
This is so exciting. And he started selling it right away to people who had not bought my work before.
Oh.
So it's both Facebook and galleries, I think. Also my art scene. I mean, some people will fall off of the art scene, the subscription. Okay, yeah, that's not what I thought it was, and they've fallen off. Other people have joined it, seeing it on Facebook or my website or talking to me at a show.
Mm-hmm. How does talking to people at a show compare with social media for bringing in new artists? New collectors, sorry.
I would have said, I probably would still say that talking to people at a show is the best thing you can do. It's the number one way to engage with someone. And people who are going to buy serious artwork love to get to know the artist. They want to know you, they want to know your story behind the work. Talking to them at a show is fantastic, but Facebook is a close second, I've found. I've made plenty of sales, again, to people I didn't really know, or I'd never heard of, on Facebook. Just like I've met people at shows, gallery shows or museum shows, talked to them for a while, and then they sign up on my art scene later on or find me on Facebook. I talked to the gallery, and later that day I got an Instagram, and he said, I'm starting following you on Instagram, hi, and I talked to you earlier, blah, 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 so. Yeah.
They all work together.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And it's a virtuous thing, circle.
Yes, yeah. Do you have any final words?
Yeah, I'm one data point. There are other artists who are using Facebook and Instagram, I would say plenty of them, more effectively than I am. So for your students, it would be great to find artists that they respect, whose work they love, maybe is like their own, follow them and see what they're doing on social media.
That sounds like great advice.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Julie, for sharing the keys to your success with us and helping us along our road to developing a sustainable business of art.
Thank you.
art, working on dogs. Yes, dogs.
We're working on dogs,
Yes.
exactly.
We're really working from this connection. I think we need to stop.